Sorry, we are late here. Friday Night Pint live. Technological issues with the platform that we stream on. So, a massive apologies and thank you for your patience. We're going to be talking Lucas Paqueta. The saga never ends. Another interview that he has done where he's saying he wanted to leave in the summer. And also some comments about him almost moving to Man City. It seems that Pakqueta is dying to leave. He wants to leave. He's wanted to leave when he was living with Man City. He wanted to leave last summer, but he respected the club and all of that. He loves the club, but he just seems like he wants to get the hell out of here. Lads, good to see you. I need to find my other
Yeah, good to see you. Been a mad week for me. Obviously, the Cotty night on last Thursday, then the DT38 thing on the Friday, and obviously off to Prague to do the Ludo interview with Jimmy Walker and Nicky and Ian from E13 events. And it's been a mad week, but yeah, looking forward to it, mate. Looking forward to having a rest, to be honest.
Yeah, I bet, mate.
You need this weekend off, mate. You need this weekend off.
How was you like when because you flew back in and went straight to work, right?
Yeah. So basically,
how was that?
I was just telling Scott off air. So, like, in the whole 48 hours, I think I had about 4 hours sleep. And the night before we was flying home, like, I couldn't get asleep. So we had to leave at 4 a.m. to get to the airport for. I think our flight was at 6 o'clock their time, so 5 o'clock our time. So yeah, I literally just got up, had a shower, got dressed, and then literally let Nicky sleep for another half hour. Woke him up, said, "Come, we've got to go." And then so I landed here 7 o'clock our time. Literally, we picked up the car from Stansted. Nicky dropped me off home. I got dressed and then just went straight to work. Man. In fact, it actually took me quicker to get from Prague to work some mornings than where it is to sit on the A13. Like, it was mad. But listen, the trip was worth it. I can't wait for people to see the interview. It was it had everything: ups, downs, laughters. You know, Jimmy Walker presenting it. He's great at that, and very emotional as well. And it's going to be good. But all worth it. All worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been editing it and I can back that fully. Like, very emotional, very powerful interview. For sure.
Do you know what? It was one of them experiences that, like, because we obviously stayed in Prague, but we got a 3-hour train journey to Ostrava, where Ludo is obviously a sporting director of Ostrava, and we got there. We was waiting in reception, and he walked in and he just had this big smile on his face because obviously he see Ian, and then me and Nicky and Jimmy were looking at the pitch, and then he turned around and he see Jimmy Walker and he just had an even bigger smile on his face. And then he sort of took us around the club, showed us all around out in the changing rooms, and then we had lunch with him. And then obviously we done the interviews and Ian got him to sign some stuff. And then he said, like, what time's your train? And we're like, oh, they're like every hour to get back to Prague. And he went, oh, have you got a bit of time? And we was like, yeah. He went, oh, like, let's go out for something to eat. So, like, we went out for something to eat in a restaurant around the corner from the ground, which one of his ex-players owns. And, like, it was just a mad experience. And it's like he didn't want us to go because I think for them 5-6 hours that we were with him, he forgot about all the sort of issues he's got going on with his health and that. And it just seemed like it was a brilliant experience and one I'll definitely never forget. Never forget.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant, mate. Like, honestly,
Looking forward to
see that. Before we get into the Pakqueta stuff, shout out to Gravy with a €5.99 super chat all the way over there from Ireland. Enjoying the international break for once. Ex-West Ham boys in Cullen and Coventry doing their part. Ronaldo, who? Come on, you boys in green. Great to see, mate.
Great result for them, weren't it?
Yeah, they beat Portugal, didn't they?
Yeah, 2-0.
Hopefully, it's a sign of a new era, a change. Things changing in Ireland football. Should I read this snippet, right, of
Yes,
the
mate,
interview,
yeah.
and then we'll give our. So let's actually get what he's said. But let's start with the move for Flamenco, and then we'll give our thoughts, and I'll get into the Man City stuff. So, yeah, he's saying, without a doubt, it was a difficult time, not only for me and my family. It feels like some of these websites, I'm sorry, are absolutely terrible when it comes to putting the stuff up. But I'm trying to find another website that had the actual quote that I was looking at. A lot of them just end up clickbaiting you. That's the City bit. Apologies if I had it, but I've had to reset my computer. Right, there we go. Here we go. Yes, he said, right, the second moment I knew I could continue playing normally, I felt like returning to Flamengo. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I had some conversations with head coach Felipe Luis. I always wanted to go back to Flamengo. I know I'll feel good at Flamengo, but I can't be ungrateful to the club that is supporting me a lot. That's West Ham. And then, yeah, so he's basically, there was another bit where he said, like, he really wanted to move, but he didn't want to push the move out of respect to West Ham. But, you know, he's 28. He still feels young, and he still feels like he has a career to basically, you know, he wants to, he feels like he's got a lot to do in his career, and he wants to move somewhere else to still, while he's got time. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Will I go grab my light?
Yeah, I mean, look, we know the issues that he had last season. It's been hell for him. It's been hell for us as well, because we haven't got to see the best of him because of this situation. But it's where he started his career. You know, he had, I think, 3 or 4 years there before he left to go to Milan. It's a club that means a lot to him, and maybe he felt that if there was a chance for him to go home, maybe that's what he needed at the time. Maybe with everything that's been going on in England with the court case and everything that's been hanging over him, maybe it felt comfortable for him and his family to go back to Brazil. But I like the way that he said he wasn't going to force a move. You know, he still respects West Ham. He's still got a lot of love for West Ham and the fans. And yeah, it must have been a tough decision for him. Look, but we know he is gonna leave this season, at the end of this season. But yeah, must have been tough for him.
Yeah, that's it, mate. I think you hit the nail on the head with it all. You know, at the end of the day, he's turned around and said, you know, he wanted to go home, and like you said, with everything that he'd gone through, you sort of accept that. The way the FA treated him and made him feel and put the amount of pressure that they put on him, and you know, let's be honest, he missed out on a massive payday because of it. You know, so why would you realistically want to stay here? At the time, the club was in a right 2-8. The manager was a pile of crap. You know, he's just being honest. You know, there was nothing really going through the summer that had wanted to keep you in this football club. But like you said, he didn't force a move. He showed his loyalty to a club that had been loyal to him. And you know, hopefully now with all this put to bed, and like I said before, the FA had to do him on something. You know, because they couldn't, you know, they didn't want to lose face, so they had to do him on something and did. And let's just hope that it's all put to bed. But listen, he's Brazilian. You know, Nick put it in the chat there. You know, Brazilians always big up their country and big up things because he had to earn the Brazilian fans back. You know, he wasn't getting into the squad. He wasn't being liked by the fans. So sometimes players say things just to get people on side, and we have to remember that. It's a lot of PR stuff goes on with players and bits and pieces. But look, at the end of the day, if he had left in the summer with the way he'd been treated by the English FA, I wouldn't have blamed him, to be honest. But I'm glad he's still here because he's such a great player, and when he turns up, we seem to turn up.
Well, we've seen it. We've seen it this season, haven't we? Really, like especially the last couple of games when he's had that free role. You know, he's back to his best. You know, he's back to what we know he can do. And yeah, it's hopefully now that look, we don't know what's going to happen in January. As I said, you never know. Someone could come in with a big bid for him, and then you know we're not going to turn it down. But I hope that we can keep him for the rest of the season. I hope that we stay up, and I hope that he has a brilliant season to end what's been a great career for him. He'll always be in our history as part of that team that won in Prague. So, yeah.
So before I give my thoughts, shout out to West Ham fan for the $5 super chat who says, shout out to all my fellow Hammers. Much love all the way from Texas. I believe that's where Roy May Jr. is from, one of our loyal viewers.
Big old place, big old place, Texas.
Yeah, do you know Roy?
When you read that out, I wanted to go yeehaw at the end.
Yeah, that's a Texas. Yeah, the thing is, I agree with all what both of you have said. And look, he's not forced to move. Can I respect that? All of that stuff is great. But, you know, and I understand from his perspective where he's coming from. But from a West Ham fan perspective, I'm a bit tired of it now. I'm a bit tired of just the constant chatter and the links and the moves away, and he wants to leave. And at this point, you know, and I have a lot of time for Pakqueta, and you know, and I like the passion and love he's shown for the club and all of that. We haven't got to see the best of him, but I do want him to just move on now. I want him to move on. I want him to go, because it's clear his mind is out the door. It was all the way back to Man City, and it has been ever since. I want people, and listen, I'm not saying that he'll ever half-arse it. You know, I do believe he'll give his all, but I want people that are here at the club up there 100%, not sitting there and thinking, yeah, I want to go. I want to go. Every window, there's speculation. There's almost talk about Aston Villa, and then he comes and does the phone thing, and then we have a thing a few weeks ago or something of his agent coming out and chatting. Now we have this interview. It's just, there's too much of that for me. And so I can say all the nice things about him and I agree, but enough's enough now. Like, apparently we're not going to sell him in January, which I think is right. But when that summer comes, I want to see him gone, right? Just so we end this saga and we can move forward. And not have a player that wants to leave staying at the club.
But the thing is, though, Dan, right? As much as he said about going back home, you know, and playing in Brazil and playing where he started and all that, you know, as I said, I put a lot of that down to the stuff that he's been through. You know, the fact that we had the Villa thing and it was throw away the phone, that type of thing. You know yourself, there's a lot of things that agents say and agents do and put in players' heads. You know, he could have easily gone down the route of danning tools and forcing a move. You know, he could have done that type of thing, but he didn't. So he showed a bit more loyalty to the club. Look, I get what you're saying, but I'd rather keep Pakqueta than sell a Pakqueta. You know, not sell him in January because you're not going to replace him in January.
We're
fantastic.
Talking about the summer. We're talking about next summer.
In the summer, so long as the price is right and the players are coming in to replace the player.
Yeah, I'm not saying just sell him for any old price, right? Yeah, but the thing that you're saying about, I get it about the scandal and how he was treated and wanting to go, but that doesn't wash when we know about the Man City thing, because he wanted to leave even before then. I know it's a big move, all of that, but I'm just saying he's been wanting to leave for a while.
Yeah. But there's big differences to going to Manchester City at that time, winning, you know, with a chance to win in the Premier League and the Champions League, to leave in and go and play for Aston Villa or somebody like that. You know, you can't, at the time when he could have gone to City, I think that the amount of money we would have got for him, everyone would have been happy for him to go. Everyone would have been happy for him to move on and go and fulfill the potential that he's got to go and play for a side that plays, plays some good stuff, can win things and stuff like that. You can't begrudge someone wanting to go and do that.
I'm not begrudging him. What I'm saying to you, Scott, is I'm not saying like if he goes, he's a Judas and he's this and that. What I'm saying is a player that's constantly linked with a move away, constantly talking about a move away. Yeah. I want to end that. I want him to go so we don't have to bloody hear about it every 5 minutes. And we've got a player that there's just constant chatter around. Like his agent seems to be talking. You know, we had it before. I think it was before the Newcastle game, right? Yeah. And then the links with Newcastle started ramping up because his agent come out and started opening his mouth. Like it's all the talk.
Yeah, but that's what agents do. They did. We had the same situation with Declan Rice. Transfer window after transfer window, Declan Rice was leaving West Ham. Declan Rice was leaving West Ham. Eventually, he did. Now, eventually, we know Pakqueta is going to leave, but at the end of the day, if he leaves, it's got to be the best deal for us. That's the problem. Thing.
that's the problem with a club like ours is whenever you've got a good set of players, they always get linked. You know, it will be Bowen after Paqueta. I see comments yesterday from Diouf, which I think are not gone down well with some of the West Ham fan base, that he's already turned around and said that he wants to move on and basically using us as a stepping stone. Like he sees himself at a top 4 club, you know, and like, I'm not being funny. He's literally just signed in the summer. Whether he thinks that, he should be coming out saying it. He should be coming out saying that because it's not going to go down well with the fans. And I don't know why players do that. You know, I know they have interviews and sometimes it could be come out the wrong way. I know with foreign players, they do say things and we take it the wrong way sometimes, translation. But from what I see of his comments yesterday, it's not good. But yeah, look, with Pakqueta, I agree with Dan. I'd rather him just go now in the summer, you know, hopefully he has a good season. We stay up. He goes his way. We get a decent amount of money for him. And then Nuno's got money to spend on trying to find a replacement for him.
Yeah, that's it. And the thing is, like, and I think he's a very talented player. And when he's on form, like, yeah, he can be class. But we ain't seen it enough. Like when we're talking about replacing him, we're not losing out on a player that turns up week in, week out and performs at a high level. And he's someone that you can say carries the team. Like when he's on it, like I said, I think he's a really good player. I just think over the course of his career at West Ham, he's been very inconsistent. And he's not someone that you will look at like Di Canio or Payet or all of that, where he had the potential to be. So when I look at it with us selling him, of course, like I'm not. If someone's offering 10 mil or 15 mil or even 20 mil, like I want to get a half decent deal. But he's on high wages as it goes. So and again, the fact that like if he wanted to stay and he's like, I love West Ham, I want to finish my career, all of that. None of this would be coming out. I'd be like, good. But all of that added to the fact that he wants to leave is why I'm like, let's not stop him. Let's not stop him. Let's get a half decent deal for him.
Yeah, mate, I'm with you. And he has been far too consistent. But the problem is that for that type of player and the type of player he is, we've been too inconsistent for him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As I've said this many a time, he's 2 steps ahead pass-wise than half of our players have been since he signed for the club. And this is the biggest issue. And you will see that if he gets a move to a bigger football club, you know, with better players, you'll see a difference in the player because they're all on the same wavelengths. This is the problem. You know, as I said, we're the only football club to turn Mascherano into, you know, we drop Mascherano and play Hayden Mullins week in, week out. Because
but this is it. We're probably not going to get.
Yeah, this is it. We're not. We don't. The team doesn't suit the player sometimes. The way the team plays, you know, and that's a lot with Pakqueta.
Yeah, I think that's it. But we need. I think you need that player, like say Bowen, for example, right?
Yeah.
And this is poorly timed because Bowen's not been at his best the past few games, but we've got wins, right? But it's not like he has to have these elite players around him for him to go and bang goals and be our best player, you know, and that's the thing. And we need players like that. And it's so funny that I've seen this comment, right? This fan base of negativity merchants. We're 2 wins in 6 goals. No one's saying West Ham shit. We're getting relegated right now. We love it. But we're talking about a story and comments. Like it is, I don't get the issue with us discussing this and why it's negative. We love our wins. Go and watch the reviews we did. Go and watch the reactions. Go and watch all of that content. We was very positive. But let me just add on to we'll get the City comments. And they asked him about his career. Professionally, I missed an important step. Psychologically, not going to Manchester City destroyed me. After that, I had to rebuild myself. Everyone knows it was done. I probably would have signed the week I received the letter from the English FA. Professionally speaking, I lost a lot. That transfer was a major career leap. It was terrible psychologically. The fear, the uncertainty about my future, even though I know who I am, what I do and what I've done, but because of circumstances of the investigation and the way the Federation handled everything, I was scared. That's what it is.
But mate, bang on point, isn't it? This is the
Yeah.
thing. You know, the guy was being handed a life-changing amount of money to go to a different football club, and it got scuppered by an FA that are incompetent. Let's be honest. You know, they're not worth anything. The FA, and as I said, I think this is one of the final nails in their coffin. They've been embarrassed. You know, they've cost a player, and look, I'm first to sort of say that players they don't realise how lucky they are to live in the world that they live in and get what they get, right? And they thingy and the amount of stresses they get. But anybody put through that type of thing would be affected. That he was put through. If that was us in our job, we'd find it hard to go and do our jobs and carry on as if there was no problem, because it puts a lot of pressure. And you're talking from okay, not from our point of view in the sense of like we might not do what we love as a job, but if you love football and that's your job and you know it's your livelihood is at stake and everything like that, and it's a thing you're passionate about, to potentially have that ripped away from you that you're never going to be allowed to play football again, especially if there's no proof that you've done something wrong. It was absolutely disgusting, and you've got to feel a bit of sympathy. You know, the amount of money he has in his back pocket and the lifestyle he leads, it makes it a lot easier. But at the end of the day, that sort of pressure affects every single person. You see that it affected him. You see his performances on the pitch. You see his mindset wasn't right. All for nothing. All for an incompetent football association that just wanted to try and make an example of someone. You know, and it's cost him so much.
Yeah, it's not only that, Scott, with the money situation with City, it was what he could have gone on to win in his career. Yeah. You know, I know nothing's guaranteed, but I'm sure he would have won a few trophies at Man City, and that's been taken away from him as well. And I've got no issues with players if they do it the right way. Got no issues with players wanting to take a step up, because a step up, if you go to Man City from West Ham, that is a step up. You know what I mean? It's a massive step up because what they compete in and what playing under a manager like Pep and the players they've got. Yeah, look, that's probably going to hurt him more than what he's like lost out on money. Because when you look back at your career, all players now are sorted for life money wise. Mm-hmm. When you look back at what you won in your career, I mean, look, he's already won the biggest European trophy there is anyway. So winning the Champions League would have been a step down for him from the Conference League. So what's he moaning for? But no, look. Yeah, look, I agree with what we've all said. You know, we're all happy to see him have a great season for West Ham and leave the right way.
Yeah. Hopefully, mate, with an FA Cup trophy in his back pocket as well.
Well, I'll take a Carabao. We're at the Carabao.
You're at the Carabao, so you can't take that down.
I would take it if I could, but I can't. Let's just touching on the following up on the youth stuff. This is his quote. This is what the quote's been. Ideally, I see myself at a top club among the 5 best in the world. I think I have the potential to get there through hard work, and I hope, God willing, to achieve that. I've only been playing professionally for 2 years. I'm remaining patient, is what he said. So, yeah, the top club, obviously we know what he means. That's going to sting. There's nothing wrong with a player having ambition, all of that stuff. But again, it's the saying it, it's the coming out and the timing, and especially when West Ham are like down in the dumps in the bottom 3.
That's when I think it's worse, when you're struggling. When you're struggling and you hear players like, if we were sitting in the top 4 now or top 6 and we was having a great season, and the players say it'd sting a little bit less, because when you're struggling at the bottom, the last thing you want to hear is your players already thinking about where they're going to make their next move. And with what's going on with Pakqueta as well, it's a double blow, isn't it? All we need now is Bowen to come out and say he wants to leave, and then that'd be it.
Yeah. The thing is, all I expect from players, right, whatever they say and do, is on the pitch, they give it their all, right? Full effort, 100%. Because, you know, you can say you love the club and all of that and you want to stay for life, but if you're not putting in the shift, it doesn't wash. Whereas a player that maybe says, you know, I see myself at Real Madrid one day, that's all. That's fine. Everyone has dreams, but you can say that, but we want to see you giving it all on the pitch. And I can't say that Diouf doesn't. I think he's still got aspects of his game he needs to work on, but I can say he put effort in. Do you know what I mean? He puts effort in. So it's fine as long as you're doing the best for the club while you're here. And if you do leave, you leave in the right way. But he's still young, he's still raw. He's got a lot to work on. He's got a lot of time here before he's, I think, ready for that step up. What he's talking about, you know.
I'll be honest, mate. I ain't got a problem with what he said one bit. At the end of the day, his ambition as a footballer too is to play for a top football club. As you start out as a youngster, you know, as we said before, when you start out to play football, you want to win trophies. You want to play for the best teams in the world. You know, unless you're a true supporter of the football club, right? Because, you know, all of us, we give our left arm to represent West Ham United, to play at West Ham United. But even people who are one club men sometimes sit back and look at their career and they didn't win any trophies and think, well, you know, maybe I should have moved to go and win a trophy. Maybe I should. At the end of the day, he's got ambition. And like you said, he hasn't turned around and said he's using West Ham as a stepping stone. That's how people have interpreted what he says. Right? He's not come out and said that. That's not in the quote. He's just said that he sees himself potentially going to a top club one day. You know, whether that be 5 years down. At the end of the day, we're West Ham, right? We are a big club. We're a sleeping giant, right? I still say this, we're a sleeping giant. With the right investment and the right people running it, we can potentially be a lot better than what we are. But at the moment, we're not that there. We're not there competing for the top trophies, right? Especially the way the things are at the moment. So long as he gives his all on the pitch, like you said, Danny, he has got a lot to learn. He's still got a lot to learn.
Can I put a different? I'll throw an alternative viewpoint to what you're saying. Is, you know, like you said, there's nothing wrong with what he said, but look at it this way, right? You know, at the end of the day, these are employees of the club, right? These are people that we're paying fortunes, right? Who are needlessly going out and talking about ambitions of wanting to leave this club and go to a better club, right? No one's begrudging them wanting that, but the need to say it, because you look at it this way, there's a lot of things, right? In any job you work for, any company you work for, is, you know, you're going to have ambitions and thoughts. I want to work for a bigger company. I want to work for a bigger and better company. But you don't go around saying, yeah, I want to leave this place. Like, I want to work for that place because I get more money. Look at that. That's a much bigger company, a much better company. Look over there. That's where I want to be. Like, you're going around and saying, you think it, but you're not going around in front and letting the whole world know and your company going, yeah, this is a stepping stone to a bigger thing.
But
you know what I mean?
Said that.
No, what I'm saying, I'm making a point. That's essentially
I get
what I'm saying is, Scott. This is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, Pakqueta, all that. That's what they're communicating, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's the words they use, but what they're communicating to us by what they're saying is, this club, right, is a stepping stone for me to get to a bigger, better club. Like, this club doesn't fit my ambitions. It's not big enough for me. And what I'm saying to you, Scott, is I'm not saying there's anything wrong with thinking about that, but I'm equating it to us as normal people working for a company. You know what I mean? Like you, Ryan, you might go and see another company and that you want to work for, and you think, well, that's a bigger company. That's a big. I know I can get more money. I know I have more prestige. But if you walked around work saying, yeah, I want to leave this place, mate, like, I want to go over there. Like, if you're go walking around saying it, and go, what the fuck? Like, you don't. It's just something you don't do.
Yeah.
But what is the need to do it?
And that's why I see both sides of the argument, because I agree with what you're saying. If you're thinking it and you have got ambitions, you know, keep it to yourself. Don't release a statement, especially. And I think what hurts is because we are in a relegation battle at the moment. And you don't want to, especially new players that have only just signed, who we've given an opportunity to introduce into Premier League football and put his name out there. But as I said, agree with Scott. And look, no problem with players having ambition. Listen, Declan Rice had ambition. Declan Rice was always said he wanted to go and play in the Champions League, and you know, it just stung a bit more because he went to Arsenal, I suppose. But if he'd have gone to City or Liverpool or United or Real Madrid, I don't think it would have caused as much.
Let me read this fucking Ginger Carol's analogy. He said, Dan, I worked at McDonald's years ago. I got fed up with them and brought in KFC to eat in McDonald's staff room. Looks I got, but I told them straight. I got respect and not muggy. The thing is, right, Ginge, is a difference there is you're in your I don't give a fuck, I want to leave mode, right? You can quit any time, right? You can be out. Right. At the end of the day, these are contracted players that we have to sell and someone has to buy. Right. It's different. Like, say Diouf's rocking up in a fucking Spurs shirt and being like, and coming into training going, yeah, I want to fucking leave this place. Like, what we're talking about is when you're at a job and you don't want to ruffle feathers. Like, when you're at your, like, I'm done with this shit. Right. Yeah. That's when you're like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if you sack me. I'm going to roll up and do whatever the fuck I want. That's different to a situation like this. What I'm saying is it's an unforced error. It's needless. Like, what is the need to come out and make these statements? You're not getting paid off it, and you're getting paid by the club. We're paying you. These journos ain't paying you, or these opposition clubs ain't paying you.
But the thing is as well, though, Dan, I think we've got to take a little bit into it as well with his age. He's only young.
I know, but it's not just him. It's Paqueta.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it's It's a lot of these players. It's not. I'm not just putting it on him.
No,
this is a issue with a lot of players.
Yeah, but we've also got to look at, Dan, is that times ain't like they were before. These players, they're different to how players were before. You didn't see players giving these type of interviews until they were technically out the door.
But that doesn't make it right, Scott. Doesn't mean we can't criticize it because the players are different and the times. We can still criticize it.
No, I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying, this is the thing. Times are a bit different. And as I said, he's not turned around and said anything that's bad. He's just said that he's got ambitions. He wants to fulfill his ambitions.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying like he's a bastard for saying it. What I'm saying is these players that keep coming out and talking about,
they don't have to say,
I want to leave, I want to go, I want to do this, I want to do that, I see myself elsewhere. Like, at the end of the day, you are being paid a lot of money by the club. Really, it doesn't matter what you go do. Go, listen, I want to make West Ham a top club. I want to go and make this club the best club it can possibly be. After that, who knows? But at the end of the day, what he's saying is needless.
So if he said what he's saying, but then turned around and said after in the next part of the interview, but I'm at West Ham, I want to turn West Ham into a big club, then he's fine in what he's saying.
Well, yeah, because what that does is I see myself at a top club. I want to make West Ham a top. That changes the context of what he said in the first part, doesn't it? Because he says he wants to make West Ham a top club. So of course it makes it all right because it changes the context. But what I'm saying is, like I said, listen, nothing wrong with that. Huh?
Yeah, this is the thing. He's still saying that eventually he wants to go and play for a bigger club. Every single player that comes in the door, especially at a young age, know that West Ham is a bit of a stepping stone in their career because of the way the club is. Declan Rice, the club was a stepping stone. Arsenal is going to be a stepping stone for his career. It's just the unfortunate thing of these young, really good talented players. The point is, Scott, you don't need to say it. No, you don't need to say it. They could come out and say a lot of stuff that's true. Well, this club's only won one trophy in 40 years. So I want to go to a club that's won loads of trophies. They can say a lot of things that are true, Scott, that maybe you just shouldn't say. Maybe it's just just because it's true, Scott, don't mean there's a lot of things, right? You see your wife's put on a few pounds. You don't come out and say, you're getting fat, even though it's true. Just because it's true, Scott, don't mean you skirt around the issue of it, Dan. You change the wording of it. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not like, I love Diouf. I think he's been class since he joined. This is a commentary I'm making on a wider issue with players. So I'm not excusing the behavior, but I'm also not turning on Diouf, or I've not changed how I feel about Diouf as a player. Yeah. And listen, if he does become the fucking top player and we get a load of money for him, happy days. As long as Sullivan's still here, we probably won't spend it well anyway.
So
we'll just get back Sullivan's investment tenfold to go in Sullivan's pocket.
yeah,
That's the
like,
thing. If we get investment in the next couple of years by some Saudi multi-billionaire, we could be one of the top 5 clubs in the world, and Dufil wouldn't have to go anywhere.
And there you go.
yeah,
There you go,
yeah.
mate.
Like,
Oh, we know that ain't gonna happen.
You never know. You never know, mate. This is the thing. You never know.
Do you know what? Every time, right, I see these comments, I go like, what? And then I go, oh, right, Simon Jordan reference. It gets me for like a second. Where I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, right, Simon Jordan reference. Thank you for the €2 super chat. Yeah, appreciate that, mate. Not sure if you had a comment that wanted to go with that. But this is it, Cookies. Like I said, I'm not jumping on his neck. I think this is a really interesting, wider conversation on players and interviews and coming out and speaking a lot. And we have seen instances of this back in the day with footballers. It's more rife now. We're seeing it more now because we have so much more access with the internet. Like these publications, you might not have access to flipping an interview they've done in the Czech Republic or in Africa or something like this. Like they do any interview anywhere around the world, we know about it. We know what they've said. It's translated. So in the 90s and shit like that, it just wasn't as accessible. So, you know, maybe in the 70s and stuff like that, when players were a bit more loyal, it wasn't. But I think it's been a problem for a while. Thank you for the other €2 super chat. Any comment you want to give? Is it Gert de Klerk?
I could have done with these euros. I could have done with these euros the other night in Prague when we was in that bar.
Yeah. But yeah, like, listen. At the end of the day, players wanting to leave is not the problem at this football club, you know, and it's the symptom, not the illness, right? The illness is Sullivan, and players talking about wanting to leave is the symptom of that illness, really.
Yeah. And the thing is, mate, as well, you don't know what these players were sold when they joined the club. That's the other thing, isn't it? You know, you don't know what it was sold to them on what we're going to do, on what the forward thinking plan is going to be. Yeah. You know, we know Sullivan's forward thinking plan is just to get to the end of the season in the Premier League so he can bankroll some more money. But you know,
I'll tell you what, though, I have to say that these players, Pakqueta and Diouf, are very fortunate that these comments have come on the back of 2 wins in a row.
2 wins.
Because had it been after the Leeds game, I think the reaction would have been very, very, very different. So it's the timing it works in their favor, I think, because when you're losing and you're just like, what the fuck, like, but everything's starting to look a bit more positive. I watched the behind the scenes day in the life of a football manager video for Nuno, where they followed Nuno around. Really good video. I recommend people checking it out. Just cameras following Nuno around in his day to day, and he really just seems like such a great bloke. Do you know what I mean? Such a lovely bloke, and you can see how the players respond to him, and a really intelligent guy. And I'm really pulling for him. I really hope it. Obviously, I hope it works for every manager, but I really like this manager, and I hope it works for him. You know, and he works out, and yeah, things could be turning a corner. Rich West Ham £5 super chat. Great chat as always, lads. Ryan, have you warmed up yet? It looked freezing in Prague. Come on, you irons.
It was like 6 degrees out there, and to come back here and it being 15, 16 degrees, it felt like summer. Yeah, you know me. I'm not good with cold weather. Like I had the biggest puffer jacket on I could find. I was it was cold out there, and it was raining as well, which made it even worse. But yeah.
Shout out to Cookie, says I think the OK jersey is looking a bit looser. The boys doing well. Cheers, mate. So we're getting there. We're getting there. It's my last weigh-in tomorrow before I go to Cyprus. So yeah, it's a good segue into, like I said, OK jerseys. Do check them out. Like I said, all the retros, the Iron Maiden shirts, which Scott loves. right? He loves an Iron Maiden shirt. The internationals. Ryan's got a Barca fucking shirt from the 90s. Like, just all the fun shirts. Well, I've got my Larry Japan top. International break is on. Get your England tops, your Ireland tops, your flipping wherever country you're from, your American tops, all of that stuff. So do check out. Use the code Nikki for 8% off. OK jersey. So get them in if you're looking to get Christmas presents, all of that stuff. Get in ASAP. Give yourself enough time. So big thank you to OK jerseys. So lads, there's been a bit of chat about Charlie Creswell again. He's coming back up as someone that we seem to really be interested in. Is he going to be the new backer? Is Charlie Creswell just going to be that player we're linked with every fucking transfer window and we never get him? But we could do with him.
Yeah, we could, couldn't we? We need a player to come in and play in that position. So yeah, he would be good. He's got the attributes to do what we need in that position. So I think it'd be a good signing. But I like you, mate. I'm just hoping it ain't another one that we just constantly link with and never get.
Yeah.
No, and it's going to be like this now all the way up until the transfer window shuts. It's just going to be linked with every day is going to be a different player, and you think we've just got the summer transfer window over. Now it's like we're going to get linked, and Nuno's going to be. I think we've been linked with Traore as well this week. Obviously, Scott's favourite player. Nuno obviously worked with him at Wolves, so the obvious links there. I think it's just going to be non-stop now until the end of the transfer window. But we do need players in, and Creswell would be a good signing and a good addition to our squad.
He's got a lot of potential, isn't he? And this thing, it reminds me a bit of like when we were linked with Chalobah a couple of times, and how we missed the boat on not signing that guy. And now he's recalled to the England squad. I know it was because of an injury to someone else. He's playing well for Chelsea. Sometimes you just got to take a punt and try and get some of these younger players in because it can work out for you. But yeah, I'd rather see him than Traore. I just don't see this fascination with Traore. I really don't get it. Don't get it one bit.
Well, like I said, I just think the thing is, Scott, we lack athletes in this team, right? We lack athleticism, just physicality, pace. So he brings that and adds another dimension. I'm not saying that he's the answer to our prayers. I mean, it all depends on the fee, the wages, all of that stuff. But he's someone that I'd be happy to have in the squad as part of the squad, and I think we're stronger for it. Him as an option for sure.
And he's at Fulham now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think,
yeah. So he's at Fulham, and he's doing lots at Fulham because Fulham are doing so well at the moment, aren't they?
Oh, look at Scott! The way you said that was so like.
I'm just checking on me facts at the minute, but my phone wants to play a bloody video instead of actually doing what it's meant to do. But yeah, Fulham are doing great.
Yeah, but I think
sitting 3 points above us, and we want to sign one of the players that don't play week in, week out because he adds a different dimension, don't it? But he don't have a different dimension at Fulham. So what's he going to do to us? This is what I'm saying.
But Nuno's a different manager. Like Nuno's a different manager. He plays a different way to Marco Silva.
Dan, he was good at Wolves how many years ago?
Yeah, what I'm saying is
good at Wolves.
He suits Nuno more. Like Nuno's worked with Nuno wants him. Like if we're gonna back Nuno, and Nuno wanted him at Forest, like surely we go, let's get him. You know what I mean? Like
for what? What does he add?
Nuno, Espirito Santo.
Yeah. This is it. What does he add? Does he bring goals? No. Does he bring assists? No.
Okay, Scott. What do we always say?
What is the biggest criticism of Pakqueta? A player of his level of ability doesn't contribute enough in goals and assists. So what we're going to go and do? Get a player with less ability, but he runs fast and he's athletic.
Scott,
yeah, but he's the baby oil.
Let's go get Usain Bolt.
Scott, I literally have heard you on this channel years ago when Antonio wasn't scoring and you was going, but he occupies defenders. He occupies defenders.
In a street, but that was because he was in a striker role. We're not signing Chiori to be a striker. We're signing him to be a winger.
But we don't know, like, because if Bowen's the bona fide definite right wing, right?
Bowen is Bowen is the thingy. But at the end of the day, you bring Chiori and you're not going to back up Bowen. He isn't going to bring anything.
Like Bowen doesn't get subbed off. Like, so if he's obviously going to he's got more chance, I think, of starting up top than he does on the right. In my opinion, I think there's more chance of him starting up top.
So basically, we're signing another winger to try and turn that winger into a striker instead of going out and getting a striker.
Well, no, we need to get a striker. I'm just saying the price is right, and that's Nuno's guy.
If he comes in on a free transfer, then so be it. It's good. But other than that, he adds nothing. And I hope if we do sign him in January, he goes on to bang 10 goals and has 10 assists, and everyone can sit there and call me out for it. But I said, don't see the fascination in it, mate. Really don't. It's another square peg round hole, pointless.
But I think he's a square peg with a square hole because he obviously fits Nuno ball, and Nuno has played for him. He's been successful under Nuno. So Nuno's a square hole, and surely Traore's a square peg.
But as I said, how long ago was he successful? What were his stats to be that successful? He tore Creswell to pieces after being on the pitch for 10 minutes. That's all I remember at Chiori.
All right, but that's not his fault. That's all you can remember. Yeah, look, I get it. Like, we're not jumping for joy and doing backflips. I don't know. What do you think, right?
Yeah, no, look. I understand where Scott's coming from with that he's got no sort of end product, but he is quick, he is strong, and you never know with the right players around him under Nuno, he could improve. He could add a bit to our team, and you know, I don't want to pay silly money for him, silly wages. I think he shouldn't be a priority signing. I think if you go out and get a couple good signings like a striker and he's an addition to, say, if we go out and get 4 or 5 in January and he's one of them, I'm not going to turn my nose at, because I think if he come in now, I know what you're saying, Scott, but I think he improves our squad because I think he's better than some of the players that we've got in here in options wise. So, Kane, for instance, like Kane's not even getting a look in. He's an improvement on him.
I think this comment makes a really good point, right? And Traore is Somerville 2.0. Now, I'm a big Somerville fan, but let's be honest, in terms of goals and assists, like Somerville is very impactful on the pitch, right? And he offers a lot, I think. But in terms of goals and assists, he's not there right now. So Traore, and I know maybe we don't want more of those players, I hear it, but having another player, maybe you can play on the right if we lose Bowen, or you can stick up top that has that energy and the extra added physicality isn't a bad thing. Like if we love Somerville, but we're gonna slate Traore. I know Somerville's better than Traore, but it's a similar situation. End product isn't there right now.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a valid argument, definitely.
Scott thinks he's an asshole. That's what Paulie says. Scott thinks he's an asshole. That's why Scott really don't want him. Shout out to Matt Rainey, 190 super chat. Cheers, Matt. Happy Friday, Irons. Hope for a Ben win tomorrow.
Yeah, I won't mind a Ben win. Good, it's going to be a good fight. Looking forward to it.
There you go. Something going on. No football going on. Well, I say there's no football. There's international football.
Yeah, England with another win last night. So
that helped put me asleep. That did.
21. But it weren't the greatest of games. 21 points out of 21. No goals conceded.
Bowen getting no minutes again.
Yeah, Bowen to play on Sunday.
I hope so.
Yeah, he will. So. I reckon he might start on Sunday, Bowen.
He hasn't been given a fair crack, I don't think. Really hasn't been given a fair crack.
But he likes him. He keeps bringing him into the squad. So,
I was speaking to Nicky. He doesn't think that Bowen, and it's annoying because he's not here to back up his opinion. But I just thought it'd be interesting to bring this up. He doesn't think that Bowen's going to go to the World Cup just based off of how little he seems to really be.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I honestly think once Madueke is back, I think Bowen's out the door. Really do. I don't. He's not. As I said, he's not been given a fair crack. England doesn't really play to the way Bowen plays. He's not going to get in front of Saka unless Saka gets injured. Saka's for England. Saka brings a lot. He's a very good player. Bowen's stats are very, very similar to Saka's. When you look at it Premier League wise, but Saka seems to be getting a nod. And look, I get it.
The thing is with Tuchel, it was interesting what he said the other day when he said about Kane, Bellingham, Foden can't play in the same team, so he's not going to put them in the same team. Mm-hmm. We've suffered for years as England fans watching managers trying to put all the best players into the team and just cram them in there. Tuchel, for me, as much as I didn't want him as England manager, that's one thing that I have liked about him is that he's picking players for what he thinks are in their best positions. And I think that Bowen, I think he really rates Bowen. And if Bowen can carry on having a decent season for West Ham, I think personally he will be in the World Cup squad. I can see him getting in it. And I just think that's what Tuchel is. I think there will be bigger names that miss out than Jarrod Bowen. I think Bowen will make the World Cup squad.
I think West Ham being a bit better in the league will help Bowen's chances than being down in the bottom three or around the bottom three.
I think Tuchel's slowly showing that he's not worried about who you play for. Do you know what I mean? And this is the thing is that's what
you say that though, but he put Madueke straight in when he signed for Arsenal.
Oh yeah, this is the thing. Look, he's made some very random choices and things like that, but he's finding his play. He said he's picked a lot of players, isn't he, for his squads? He hasn't used.
He called up
quite a few.
Yeah, he's called up a few new players in the last few games. Like he's called up Alex Scott from Bournemouth. This is what I like. This is what I like about Tuchel is that he's not just picking names. He's not like he's left Bellingham out the last few squads. He's not picking Jack Grealish. Foden's only just come back into the fold. There's a lot of players that are missing out because he's thinking, like I said, we've suffered for so long watching England trying to put all the best players on the pitch at the same time. He doesn't do that. And that's why I think when you look at, I know the game you watched last night, Scott, wasn't the greatest, but if you'd have watched the previous games and watched the way we play, there is improvements there. And I said it before, we are going to be one of the best squads going into this World Cup.
Definitely.
We're going to be up there.
And that's what we need, though, right? We need a manager that's going to experiment because at the end of the day, I think, like you said, we've had too many managers trying to fit all the best players in and having their system and then trying to fit all the best players into it. The thing I see with Tuchel is, like you said, he does try different things and he looks like someone who thinks ahead of what happens if we get to the World Cup and Bellingham's injured, Kane's injured, or we have a suspension. How are we going to play without that player? What are we going to do? And he seems to be trying to come up with ways. Like I said, the players that he's not fitting in, you can't have a Foden and a Bellingham plan. They play exactly the same position. But what you can have is a Bellingham plan, and if he ain't available, a Foden plan. So he's looking at ways to bring all them in.
We've got one more qualifier left, and then I think he's only got 3 games before the World Cup starts, 3 friendlies. So there's a lot of football to play between now and that World Cup squad being selected. And if Bowen carries on, doing what he does, playing well for us and scoring goals, it'll always be, in Tuchel's mind.
Yeah. You know what? I kind of agree with Lucas here. So I'm okay with Bowen being a fringe player priority irons. It's such a conflict in me, right? Is because I love to see our players represent England. I love to see West Ham players in the England team. We won the World Cup, don't you know? And we use that as a source of pride. The 3 legends. We'll get that. I'll wrap this up quick. And I'm just saying, but I love Bowen and I want him to have realised his ambitions and I would love him to be a starter. But at the same time, the worries he gets injured playing and all of that. So it's a tough one.
The thought of England winning a World Cup without a West Ham player in the squad, mate, fills me with dread.
Like this comment here about Kane, like I will fight the corner for Kane all day long. Like Kane is the most disrespected football player. Honestly, I don't get this geezer's goal scoring record is unreal for Tottenham and what he's doing for Bayern Munich and for England as well. The disrespect he gets, I think it's because he did play for Tottenham, why he gets a lot of disrespect. This geezer, he might be losing pace, but so did Rooney. So do all the greats. When you get older, unfortunately, you lose pace, but you cannot take him out the England team because he scores goals. He will have players around him doing all his running. He will be in that position to finish the ball. Even when he drops off, that's what he's good at. I don't get this. I really don't get the hate that Harry Kane gets. Really don't. He is one of the.
What frustrates me? What frustrates me with Kane when he plays a lot of the time, especially now he is losing that bit of pace, right? Is he's a great goal scorer. He's one of the best goal scorers that England have had for a long time, right? And what frustrates the hell out of me with him?
No, Scott, he is the greatest England goal scorer of all time.
Yeah. Because a lot of penalties, but right, I get that. But what frustrates me with him so much is that a lot of the time when he should be in the box, he's dropping deep because he wants to be involved. I'd rather see Kane just staying around that 18-yard box, not trying to bring other players. Be where you're most effective.
Well, now he has lost pace. That's the best place for him.
Yeah, that's
the thing is, though, you've only got to look what he's doing week in week. Look at what he's doing week in week out of Bayern Munich. His goal scoring record is unreal. Yeah, unreal. He scored 108 goals in 114 games. It's fucking crazy numbers, and he can still come back. If he was to come back to the Premier League next season, he's still got time to break Shearer's record.
Yeah,
and he probably would do it as well. Yeah. That's his only downside. I think him leaving the Premier League, maybe he needed to go to Bayern Munich. He needed to get off his chest. It was so Harry Kane that he went there, and it was the first time they didn't win the league title for about 12 years. But he's won the trophy now. I think they've won another domestic cup or whatever it is, and they're going well in the Champions League. But yeah, I really do think Harry Kane is a bit disrespectful. I think Wayne Rooney as well. I think he gets a lot of hate. People talk about, I know you said about penalties, Scott, but Shearer scored a lot of penalties, but people love his goal scoring record. Yeah, no one talks about Andy Cole.
I never rated Andy Cole anyway, but he missed a lot of chances. But
Andy Cole scored a lot of goals and he didn't take many penalties.
I'm loving hot take Scott. Scott's like Scott unfiltered. This is what we're seeing.
This is it, and the thing is, Kane will carry on playing. He, like you said, right? If he does come back, he will eventually break that record. But just for me, for England, there's games, especially in the last World Cup, the last Euros, you're just sitting there thinking, get in the fucking box, man. You're the goal scorer. You're the man who these players are crossing the ball for, and you're sitting there on the edge of the day, or still deep in our own half, or they're deep in the half because you're playing players through. Be the focal point. Be the tip of the spear. If he stays and be the tip of the spear, he'll score more goals for England, and England may actually go on and win something.
Yeah, someone just said there that Jimmy Greaves, the greatest ever English striker. Yeah, I agree. Look, Jimmy Greaves is up there, but the greatest player this country's ever produced is Wayne Rooney. Without a doubt, Wayne Rooney. Talent-wise, Wayne Rooney. Bobby Charlton, legends. Jimmy Greaves, legends. But as an all-round player, Wayne Rooney.
Yeah. No, I mean, he was class, but it's a shame. Like we all thought when he come out, we thought he was going to be the one to win England the trophy, and sadly. And
do you know what? Go and have a look at Wayne Euro 2004 Wayne Rooney highlights. That Rooney in that tournament is the best performance up until he got injured that I've ever seen from an England player.
Was that the year he done his metatarsal?
Yeah, in the quarterfinals against Portugal. But you watch what he done in that tournament as a kid. People forget he was only like 17 at the time, and he was bullying like Zidane, bullying all of these top class international players. It was one of the best performances. Every now and again, it pops up on like TikTok or Twitter or something, and someone just puts that highlights package together, and it's unreal. That was one of the best tournaments I remember watching England at that time.
Yeah. It's hopefully one day we can see a win. We can see a final win, not end in disappointment.
Well, if it wasn't for Southgate taking off fucking Declan Rice in the 2021 final, we'd have won that.
We would have seen that. We would have seen that. We should have seen that. Let's be honest. We should have seen it twice by now. We should have seen the World Cup and the Euros by now. But
and Jace wanted him at West Ham.
You say we reward failure in this country. We made Gareth Southgate a sir.
Yeah, I know.
Well, yeah, we went out of the easiest, we got to the semi of one of the easiest routes we've ever had to a final. Yeah. And we gave knighthoods out for that. Yeah, shocking.
Yep.
Completely undeserved.
Southgate, you can't underestimate what he did for England and thingy. But let's be real. Some of them draws we had in them competitions were the easiest draws any England managers ever.
I mean, the game that we did, it was Colombia, was it? That we did the watch onto the penalty shootout, bro. It was like these teams,
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
We went out to, was it Croatia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went out to a Croatia side that played 2 games previous, 120 minutes, and then played us for 120 minutes. We couldn't even beat them.
The one thing that I would say about Gareth Southgate is what he done is that I think he made us fans fall back in love with supporting England again, and I think he made the camp a lot better for players coming to England. It weren't like players used to just turn up and they didn't want to be there. I think these group of players that he started bringing through liked playing for England. They liked being at the camp, and that was one thing that I will give Southgate credit for. I think 100%. Remember when he had his waistcoat on and everyone sort of fell in love with Southgate in England again. And then obviously Euro 2020, obviously we played it in 2021 because of COVID, but it was, And even the last tournament, we were crap, but we still got to the final. So,
And
it's a big,
could have won it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it was. I remember, I still remember that moment. And I'm not saying it was only because Declan Rice was a West Ham player at that time. He was the best player on the pitch.
Didn't he bring on Jordan Henderson? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
brought on Jordan Henderson and then just literally went like a turtle, frightened, and went into his shell. It was just pathetic, absolutely pathetic. You've got one of the oldest centre back pairings in international football. You're playing deep in your own half, defending a 1-0 lead. It was fucking pathetic, mate. Absolutely pathetic. And
I don't know if you watched the game. Scott, you watched the game last night. I like that City defender, O'Reilly.
Yeah, he looked decent.
He looked very good. Yeah. Very comfortable.
Linked up well with Rashford as well.
Yeah. Even Rashford had a new since he's gone to Leaf for Life since going to Barcelona. So look, England are looking in good shape. They're just the only thing that worries me is going to be the weather out there, the heat.
Yeah. That's
us English. No, us English boys we can't play in the heat.
Yeah, I think that's. I think semi-finalists. I think we will suffer from the climate.
Fuck semi-finalists, Scott. We're going to fucking win it. Come on.
With a German, that'll be.
That's the only downside. It's the only downside to it. That's what I. Yeah.
That has that little, which is nothing against it, but it has that little thing about it, doesn't it? That we had to get.
I've always been the same. I always think English manager should be English team should be an English manager. I've always been like that. Whatever, Scotland should be Scottish. I don't like the foreign managers never work for us. So yeah.
Well, I listen, think that should almost be the rules. Like if the players have to be from that country, right, to play or have ties to that country to play for it, surely that should be the rule for managers as well.
Yeah,
interesting point.
That's the difference. Like you watch Gareth Southgate on the touchline when we're singing the national anthem. He was belting it out like he was playing, and he got all the players to do it as well. Now Tuchel is not going to sing the national anthem, is he? It's a tough one because I Yeah, I'm not saying that I don't want him to win. Obviously, I want to see England win a World Cup. Of course, I do. But yeah, I just can't get over having a German in charge of England, and
It's not going to mean as much. Like if you're not like from that country, it's not going to mean as much to you. Of course, you'll be buzzing to win it, but like I think had Southgate won it, he understands the magnitude. He feels it more. But yeah, I think it's the same. Like any country, I think the rule should be that it's your best players from your country and your best manager from your country.
I just don't think. Yeah, I just don't think they care enough. Like Capello didn't give a shit. Saying that, as much as God rest his soul, Sven. I did actually enjoy my time under Sven. Once again, he was another one that made fans sort of fall back in love with England after our not qualifying. Not qualifying, but having a shit Euro 2000, and then. But yeah, I just think that I'd like to see. Hopefully they're building up for the next England, like the next manager to be English, and who it's going to be. I don't know. Maybe Eddie Howe in a few years could be ready to take over. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Hines makes a good point. Tuchel might be what we need to have a cool head and make the right change with less pressure. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And there is that. And look, from even though that's my feelings and that's how I feel, I will still get behind England, and I will still get behind Thomas Tuchel to do well. Because if he does well in that tournament, I'm going to see my country win a World Cup in my lifetime.
Yeah,
and not having to keep looking at photos of more Hurston Peters and the 66 team. We need another team to look back on and say, yeah, we was there. We was alive when England won a World Cup or Euros.
But Bowen, pots and skulls. That's the dream. That's what we need for do you think Sweden are mad for getting Graham Potter as national coach? I mean, my Graham Potter's stocks have gone down so far for me.
I mean, to be honest, mate, it will probably suit him. International football might actually suit Potter. He speaks fluent Swedish. I'm very impressed with his press conference.
Yeah. I think well, go on, Scott. Sorry.
No, I think international football suits him. He isn't a man that could work with players week in, week out. He said, you say your stock's gone down in him. Damn, my stock was never eyeing him. But I think
they must be lower than, they must have been higher at some point, Scott. There must have been a point where you thought you didn't. I'm not saying you rated him, but you didn't think he was as bad as he was. There must have been a point.
The Villa game, but then looking back at it, that was a player's let off the leash. Potter turned out exactly as I expected Potter to turn out.
Broken clocks right twice a day,
eh? No, mate, exactly. I've got to get him right sometimes, but no, I've never ever rated him. Never rated him. And show. But I said, sometimes I don't rate Southgate. Southgate proves a point. You can be a good international manager, but can't cut it managing a football club. And Southgate can't cut it managing a football club. He's led England to furthering competitions, been in 2 finals, and not one pundit and not one fan of a big club wanted him at their football club.
You know what the thing is?
Don't even want him at West Ham, and that says a lot.
Well, Jace wanted Southgate at West Ham. Stupid, isn't he? But the thing is with Sweden, the thing is about him being more suited to international football and all of that stuff. And the thing I disagree a bit in a way is just some of the way he seemed to treat West Ham players and the players he'd fell out with, and some of his coaching, it was baffling. I look at they've got Isak Gyökeres there. Kulusevski played for Sweden. But so there's some big players that potentially could look at him and go, well, who are you and what are you won?
But international managers are always a bit different, and they're not always managers that have cut it and won everything at club level. This is it. And as I said, he's not working day in, day out with these players. He's literally got these players for a short period of time. So it's not like he can't. There's no. You don't have to deal with egos. And the problem that it seems with Potter seems to have a bigger ego than half the players. You know, and this is the thing. You don't have that in international football. You're only with these players a short period of time. The longest you spend with the players is when you go to an international tournament.
Yeah. So it's Well, listen, I've I don't wish him ill will. I'm really disappointed with just how awful he was and the stuff that he did at West Ham, which I thought was just disgraceful. So good luck to him, but may he never darken our doorstep ever again.
Yes,
So.
100%. That's it. This is a good question when it comes up.
Who was worse, Lopetegui or Potter? I feel like I'm leaning towards Potter. I feel like Lopetegui ball was worse though to watch.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? I don't know what one to choose out of them two. I think they were both poor.
It's like, who was worse, Hitler or Genghis Khan or something? Like,
the only thing with Lopetegui is he won more games.
Yeah, there you go. So you have to give the win to Lopetegui.
Just on that principle.
Yeah, and the thing is, Lopetegui did some mad things with the lineups and that. But I don't think he did anything as egregious as what Potter did by starting the midfield of Souček, Rodriguez, and Ward-Prowse multiple occasions. Like when he played Potts like in pre-season. I don't think Lopetegui did anything as egregious as that in terms of decisions. There was times when he kept dropping Somerville, and Somerville would be in and he'd be out for a few games after being our best player. But decision-wise, I think it was the stuff he did in the summer was madness to me, Paul.
Yeah, that's it. And like you said, the fact
you look like he's going to say something, Scott. You froze there. You was like,
the fact that he fell out with two players that we could do with in Emerson and Alvarez.
Yeah.
You know, and Lee's comment there, he says Potter wasn't backed in the transfer. I'm quite glad he weren't backed in the transfer window because he just would have brought in a more pile of craps.
Look at Hermansen. Look at Hermansen. Imagine we had like a Hermansen all around the pitch, like just a load of.
Do you know they're trying to move him on in January? We're going to take a big loss on him.
Fucking hell. That just.
I think there's been so many mistakes made at this football club since.
God. Yeah.
Like when obviously Moyes left and obviously Lopetegui come in, he wasted so much money on players that are useless. Potter, it hasn't been great, and I'm hoping now that Nuno can just. Do you know what? Right, I know this is mad, and I know there's some tough games coming up. But I was looking at the league table earlier, and like if we win our next game, right, and Liverpool lose their next game, we're only 5 points behind them, and then we play them. That's fucking crazy, isn't it? I know there's a lot of football to play between that, and I think Liverpool have got Nottingham Forest at home, so they're more than likely going to get a win. But if could you imagine that?
Yeah.
It's mad how this season.
If we win our next two games, we're 2 points behind Liverpool.
Crazy, isn't it?
I mean, that could either be a sign of how good we're getting or how bad they've been. Because I think
it's how bad they've been. But no, but
it's
look,
a mental table. Like I said,
it's
a fight.
From what I've seen in the last two games and coming from behind as well, scoring 3 goals. I know that obviously Burnley got that late goal through Areola making a stupid mistake, but
I still think that wasn't a goal to me because he had 2 hands on the ball, personally. I know you guys did your thing, but he had his. I know he could have done better, but he had the hands on the ball like that, and then Coventry goes and kicks it out of his hand. I think that's.
We just agreed. Yeah, we just agreed that it was a goal because it was Josh Cullen, and we know how much Scott loves Cullen.
Cullen, not Coventry. Cullen.
To be fair to the kid, he played well, I thought.
Yeah, no, he's done fantastic at Burnley. Yeah. He's done really well at Burnley.
I'm happy for him.
Do you know what, though? It's mad because when I was sitting there and I was looking over at the touchline, and I see Scott Parker over there in his suit, and I was thinking, man, he could so be West Ham manager. He could so be West Ham manager, Scott Parker. It was nice because I don't know if they showed it on the telly, but when obviously Trevor Brooking laid the wreath, as he walked off, Scott Parker just walked over to him and they had a big cuddle and that, and it was like, oh mate, one day. Do you know what I think is going to be the next West Ham manager after Nuno?
Oh.
I've got a good feeling that a couple good years with Wales, I could see Craig Bellamy being our manager one day as well.
I think he'd be popular.
Either Scott Parker or Craig Bellamy at West Ham.
Yeah, they're sort of. The thing is with Scott Parker, man. Like, if only we didn't get relegated that season, I think he would have stayed with us for a while. Like, I think he would have gone down as one of the like he'd have been up there like Nobes or something. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we would have.
Yeah, I mean, what did he win? 3 or was it 4 Hammer of the Years? You know, so
yeah.
He won the PFA Player of the Year when we were shit. Mm-hmm. That's how good he was.
Yeah.
And look, it's brilliant. But just seeing him over there, I was just thinking to myself, I could see it one day.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, I hope he does well and I hope he keeps them up. Like I said, I hate that he went to Spurs, but the fact that we got relegated gives him a little bit of grace.
You want to talk about controversial manager choices? Scott was there for the Tony Cottee night, and Tony Cottee said that he'd rather Lampard than Nuno.
We'll be putting that out.
Split the room. Yeah, split the room. He had a little bit of a back and forth with some bloke that just wasn't having it. But Cottee said, "Look, that's my opinion. Mm-hmm. You know, he supports West Ham. I prefer him than Nuno." Cotty's just not having Nuno. He just don't like him. But yeah, look, we've all got our opinions, and you know, it's what we think. And
yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
but his opinion. I think that comment that he said there, it was probably the only bad thing that he said all night, because anyone that wants Frank Lampard a manager in the Premier League needs a red reading, because that guy's championship.
The thing is, what he was saying is, if Lampard come in and he started well when he won 10 games in a row, or you know, most fans would probably get behind him. But there's people. Me personally, I wouldn't want to see him as West Ham manager. You know, I wouldn't. But yeah, look, if he ever did come in and take the West Ham job, then that's something that, you know, we'll have to talk about when that happens. But I'm sure.
Well, that video is going to come out soon. Well, first we've got the first part. That's going to be coming out early access for the members, and then that's going to be going out in public. And then we've got the second half, where the full thing of the second half is going to be for the members, but we're going to take bits out, like that Lampard thing. That will be public. Some of them comments as well, so you'll get to watch that. So do look out for that coming up. So yeah, I'll probably put up the Cottee thing like early access after this, and then it might be, I think, like Sunday evening or something public for everyone else to watch. So do join up to the memberships. Got a lot of stuff coming out.
Graham's camera skills. There was one point where he was facing it, and Graham must have took his eye up, and the camera swung round, and it was looking at the crowd, and you can just feel him panicking trying to get it back. But nah, he done a good job on it. Graham. He loves it, Graham. He does his little raffle, comes up there, does the raffle.
This is the first one I hadn't filmed because I was doing my teaching my course.
Well, I'm actually trying to organise the next one now. I think they're looking to do it sort of mid-February or towards the end of February. And there's a couple of players that we're trying to see if we can get, not for the same night, but if one falls through, then we'll go with the other one. But we are trying, and hopefully we'll be able to announce that very soon.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So lots to come up. So look out for the Cottee thing. I think I'll stick it up. Like I said, members, early access, all of that other bits and pieces. And yeah, international break. We're halfway through it, so football's back. I'm going to be in Bournemouth, so I don't know about the logistics of a watch along.
Do you know what, mate? You ain't wrong. You're nearly right on that one.
Yeah.
Did you say you're going Bournemouth?
No, I'm going Cyprus on Wednesday.
Oh,
So Wednesday. So
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about if there'll be a watch along for the Bournemouth game. It's going to be treated. Like I said, I'm going for my dad's birthday. So there's a lot happening out there. Right? So we'll see what we can do with stuff. But yeah, I think watch along is going to be very difficult. But yeah, so in the meantime, like I said, lots of stuff coming up over the next few days. So do stay involved. Do stay tuned in. Once again, check out OK Jerseys, and I said if you want to sign up to the memberships, then join. So yeah, but it's been a really good show, everyone. I'm going to get back to finishing editing this brilliant Ludo McCloskey video that the Jimmy Walker. So you can get some information on how you can see that very soon. There will be information about how it can be watched. Obviously, this is with E13 events, so we'll keep you updated.
I think that after speaking to Ian, because he does where he had the DT38 night the other week in the Lumiere Theatre in Romford, I think Ian's actually thinking about doing a sort of doing the Ludo video on the big screen, invite a lot of the ex-players down who played with Ludo, so it'll be an event, but then you get to watch the thing. So hopefully that should be announced in the next few days. I think it's only going to sound like $5 a ticket, so you can come along. Ludo, because obviously most of the money is going to be going to a charity of Ludo's choice, and he did actually choose the DT38 Foundation. So all the money, like most of the money raised that night, will be going to a great charity as well. So yeah, it's going to be good. And when it happens, we'll announce it.
Yeah. No, really looking forward to everyone to see it. Like I said, just me by editing it, because I wasn't able to be there because again I'm teaching this course, but just me editing it, yeah, it was it was powerful. It was really good stuff. There's some fun stories. It wasn't all emotion. It was, like I said, it was highs and lows, and yeah, so be good. It'll be good. So do keep in touch with it. But yeah, good stuff, lads. Feels like it's been ages since this international break has gone slowly. It feels like it's been ages since I've seen you. But yeah, so keep up to date with the channel. Have a great weekend. One thing left to say. Come on, you Irons.